Welcome to Leisure Seeker. On the channel we explore attractions and days out in the UK and beyond. And today we're at the Old Warden Airfield near Bedford, home to the Shuttleworth Collection. Founded by Richard Shuttleworth and cared for today by the Shuttleworth Trust, the collection is packed with over 50 airworthy aircraft from 1909 to 1950, along with vintage cars, motorcycles, bicycles, buses and even a steam engine, all housed in 6 aircraft hangars. Through the summer, air shows are held here, and if we didn't live a 2.5-hour drive away, I think we would be regulars. Unlike a static museum, almost everything here still moves. Most of the aircraft fly, the engines run, and even the airfield's Bofors anti-aircraft gun can be operated by visitors on open days. Behind it all is a dedicated team of engineers who keep these historic machines alive, and you can actually watch them at work in the engineering workshop. Alongside the hangars is the Swiss Garden, a beautifully restored Regency garden in the romantic Swiss picturesque style, complete with quirky listed garden features and peacocks. Next week we'll be visiting the East Midland Aero Park at Castle Donington, and our tour of the Morgan car factory is already on the channel, so if you enjoy this kind of thing, hit subscribe so you don't miss our next trip. This is our first time here, we're really looking forward to it. Let's go take a look. Just inside the entrance is the Runway café, and as it's almost lunchtime, we'll get something to eat. The place is clean, modern and comfortable, and the prices don't look too bad either. Howard went for the sausage bap. The sausages were tasty and well spiced and was priced at £7. I went for soup of the day with a buttered roll, and today it was parsnip. It was thick, creamy and very tasty. Good value at £7.50. At the back of the cafe are the toilets. Let's go and check them out. It's a little basic in here, but it's clean and tidy. There's hot water, plenty of loo roll and the hand dryer works. To the right of the main cafe is a shop, the ticket desk and additional cafe seating. It's very busy in here today. It's Tuesday morning and these are the volunteers that look after the Swiss garden. There's a fair bit to browse through, mainly books, clothing, mugs, and I did see some rather nice vintage posters, unframed at £5 each. I thought they were very good value. An adult ticket is £19.50, concessions £17.50 and under 18s are free. The entrance to the collection is to the right of the ticket desk, then it's into a corridor and a left into the hangars. And here we are in the first hangar. It's big, bright and spotlessly clean. Here are the early aircraft, and I must say, I don't think I'd like to go up in any of them. Let's take a closer look at some of the exhibits. Ooh, this one has had quite a life. A 1909 Blériot Type 11. It was used by a flying school in Hendon where it crashed. The wreckage was sold to a scrap merchant, and a Mr. Grimmer bought the bits, rebuilt the aircraft and taught himself to fly in it. It was stored during World War I and it stayed there until Richard Shuttleworth bought it in 1935. He rebuilt this as his first historic aeroplane. Apparently, it's the world's oldest aeroplane and aero-engine combination in flying condition, so it's restricted to hops rather than flights, just to be safe. This is cute, a 1904 5.5 litre de Dietrich. Never heard of them. It can do 75 miles per hour and is raised at Brooklands. Here we have a replica of a 1910 Bristol box kite. This one was built for the 1960s film Those Magnificent Men in Their Flying Machines. There are no original box kites, and this one only flies in calm weather. Here is a replica of a 1910 Avro Triplane 4 and a 1931 De Suter. And here we go into the second hangar with slightly later planes. Oh, this one's had a tough time. It's a replica of a 1920 Sopwith Dove. Apparently in July 2000 it was damaged when the wheels collapsed on landing. Repairs took a while, but it returned to the collection in May 2015. Here is a replica of 1916 Sopwith Triplane. It was built by volunteers of the Northern Aeroplane Workshops using original plans, and it was delivered to Shuttleworth in 1990. When Sir Thomas Sopwith saw how good it was, he declared it to be a late production aircraft rather than a replica. What a lovely man! The volunteers must have been absolutely chuffed to bits by that. And here's the Bristol F2B fighter. This aircraft was designed to do it all. Part fighter with guns front and back, part reconnaissance plane. This one was built in 1917 but never actually saw combat. Instead it served with the 208 Squadron out in Turkey in the early 1920s. Years later, its remains were rescued and eventually restored by the Bristol Aeroplane Company. It flew again in 1952 and joined the Shuttleworth Collection. Here is a replica of a 1917 Bristol M1C which takes part in the flying displays here at Shuttleworth. Here is a 1917 RAF SE-5A, one of the fastest, most reliable fighters of its time, so good that over 5,000 were built. It entered service in 1917 with the Royal Flying Corps. It flew on the Western Front, defended Britain's skies, and even saw service in Egypt and the Middle East. Hangar number 3 contains commercial vehicles. There's a steam engine, a couple of early buses, and a delivery vehicle. At the back, in a dark atmospheric area, is a collection of early horse-drawn carriages. And here is a 1939 Swedish anti-aircraft gun. On open days, you can actually have a go on this, but it has been deactivated, so no live firing. In Hangar 4, the planes are much bigger and more modern looking. The great big white one is a de Havilland DH-89A Dragon Rapide. The one with the camouflage paint job is a 1955 Percival P56 Provost T1. Here is de Havilland Tiger Moth, developed from the earlier Gypsy Moth. During the war, it was an important training aircraft used by the RAF and air forces around the world. By the 1950s, it was replaced by the Chipmunk, but the Tiger Moth has never really disappeared. Over 50 are still flying in Britain today. This particular aircraft was built in 1944 by Morris Motors at Cowley and joined the Shuttleworth Collection in 1966. Here we have a Hawker Sea Hurricane, a naval twist on the legendary Hurricane fighter. These aircraft launched from catapult ships and later from carriers, protecting vital convoys at sea. This aircraft was built in Canada in 1941, converted to Sea Hurricane standard and served with the 880 Squadron. After the war, it became a training airframe before joining the collection in 1961. Restored in partnership with the Imperial War Museum, it flew again in 1995, powered by the world's only working Merlin 3 engine at the time. Here is a 1938 Westland Lysander, a gorgeous Citroën 7CV Traction Avant, a Hillman Minx staff car, and a rather lovely Willys Jeep. This beautiful 1939 MGTA midget belonged to Richard Shuttleworth, and he used it when he was in the RAF in Shropshire. Here is a de Havilland DH-51, a Hawker Tomtit, the MGTA, and a Gloucester Gladiator. And if you're needing a comfort break, there is a toilet block between this hangar and Hangar 5, just on your right. This British biplane is a 1930 Southern Martlet. It was owned by F.G. Miles, who later became famous for designing Miles aircraft. It was stored during the war, but later had a new life with the Butlins Holiday Company, performing flying displays for holidaymakers at their camps. It was then back into storage for more than 30 years, until it was fully restored by the Shuttleworth Collection's engineers and volunteers, taking to the skies again in September 2000. This is a de Havilland DH-60 Moth, designed by Geoffrey de Havilland. Simple, elegant and practical, a two-seater wooden biplane with folding wings so it could fit into smaller hangars. One Moth even made history in 1928 when Lieutenant L.G. Richardson became the first person to land a British civil aircraft on a carrier, HMS Furious. This particular aircraft was delivered to the Lancashire Aero Club in 1925. It's the sixth Moth built and the oldest surviving one of its kind. Restored by the de Havilland apprentices in 1951, it joined the Shuttleworth Collection in 1922. The lovely blue car is a 1938 Railton 8 Sports. This silver beauty is a 1936 Blackburn B2. And at the far end is a replica of a 1929 Travel Airtype R mystery ship. Along the back edge of Hangar 5 is a raised gallery. Here there is a collection of early motorcycles and some beautiful early cars. There's an atmospheric mock-up of a garage and a collection of very early bicycles. And here we are in hangar number 6, the final hangar. Let's take a closer look at our last aircraft. This is a 1930 DH-60G Gypsy Moth, first owned by the Bentley Motor Company. It had several owners before being stored during World War II and was presented to the Shuttleworth Collection, where it made its first public demonstration in 1977. In 2003, it was sold to a Bentley dealership in Essex, quite apt really. However, it still comes back to Shuttleworth for its annual maintenance. Our tour of the hangars took an hour, but we could have spent longer really. We came back through the hangars to the entranceway. This time we turned right towards the engineering hangar and the Swiss gardens. This was Richard Shuttleworth's workshop, where he could repair and restore his collection. Today, engineers and volunteers maintain, restore and repair aircraft to keep them in airworthy condition. Shuttleworth is an educational trust where apprentices can learn from experienced engineers. If an apprenticeship appeals to you, I will leave a link to the relevant webpage in the description. Here is the current jobs list, and we can see that the Spitfire is in for its annual C-check inspection. This is a major inspection where engineers strip back panels and covers to examine the aircraft inside and out, looking for corrosion, fatigue and wear, checking the engine, controls, hydraulics and undercarriage. The logbooks and airworthy documentation is then completed to satisfy the UK Civil Aviation Authority. It's quite a big job, often taking weeks, and ensures the aircraft remains both safe and legally airworthy to flying displays. Next to the engineering workshop is the entrance to the Swiss garden. This is the map that we were given with our tickets. At first our thought was, oh no, that looks like a huge garden and quite a hike. Here is the Google Earth image showing the site. The red line is the route we took around the garden. As you can see, the length of the Swiss garden is roughly the length of the hangars, and it only took us 35 minutes. At the beginning of the garden is the wrought and cast iron Moat Bridge. It was manufactured by Cato & Sons in the 1870s. A minute's stroll from the Moat Bridge is the Indian kiosk built in the 1830s, and already we've found the peacocks, including a very unusual albino one. The Swiss garden at Shuttleworth is a stunning 9-acre Regency garden, first created in the early 1800s by the 3rd Lord Ongley. It was then lovingly restored by the Shuttleworth family, who owned it from the late 19th century to 1940. Today it's cared for by the Shuttleworth Trust. This beautiful space is filled with quirky Alpine-style buildings, ornamental ponds and winding paths, home to elegant peacocks and magnificent trees. It was restored again in 2014 with support from the Heritage Lottery Fund, and it is now an RHS partner garden. Here is the chapel, one of the first structures placed on the garden by Lord Ongley. Here is the focal point of the garden, the Swiss cottage. And here is the grotto and fernery. I do love a grotto. Oh, it's lovely in here. Look at this. And we've got it all to ourselves. It is quite quiet around here. This is actually one of the locations for weddings, though you couldn't get many people in here, I don't think. The dome up there is quite impressive, probably due to all that glass. Oh, it's lovely and warm. Although they wouldn't look right in here, tomatoes would do really well. For a subterranean-style grotto, the light is really nice in here. We've had a lovely walk around. There's lots to see and it's well laid out. The paths are wide and well maintained, but too steep in places for wheelchairs and prams. The map shows the paths to avoid. There are toilets just past the Indian kiosk where the peacocks were. It's a Tuesday in October, in term time, so it's not been too busy. The walk has taken just over half an hour. It's now 2:15, so we will go and get a drink and some cake before our drive home. And here we are, back in the café, and I've spotted a slice of Victoria sponge that's definitely got my name on it. It's been a fantastic visit, and I hope this video has given you a taste of what to expect. We've had such a lovely time here, and honestly we can't recommend it enough. If you've enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe and join us for more days out soon. Thanks for watching.